evil ones and evil wannabes.
So glad you came back.
Yes, we are so glad that you joined us for week 1 in Villain School Peer Pressure. We hope that your homework assignment just went swimmingly this week.
And I hope that you have some very, very talented minions under you now.
Yes, hopefully ones that are smarter than the 2 that you have.
Yes, for sure.
Anyways, this week at Villain School, we will learn the art of greed.
Because why have one when you can have many?
You missed the line there, dear. Why have one when you can have 101?
But don't even settle for that. Go for more.
Lots more. All of it.
Once again, we will look at some of our other famous villains that have joined us in movies past. And so today we take a good look at our dear, dear friend Ursula.
Ooh.
Now that little gem also could rock the color purple. Oh, but dear Ursula, she wanted it all. She wanted good looks and a good voice and the handsome prince. And Ursula was so very good at being bad. But she wanted more to the point where she got that silly silly Ariel to sign away it all. Like she thought she could have it.
How silly can you be? Like, seriously, how do you get anywhere in life without your voice? Especially that you wanted the prince. Yeah, and Ursula did her thing, and she got her to sign over her voice. Oh, that's silly, Ursula. We can also take a look at Jafar.
Oh, gosh.
Ooh. I will say that even being evil, sometimes there are more evil ones that kind of scare me.
Jafar is definitely top class in the evil department, and we are slightly terrified of him.
He is one of them because, I mean, Jafar, his goal for everything was world dominance, power, riches. He even wanted more wishes from the genie.
We could only aspire to be as good as he is in this department.
But clearly he was not going to settle for less. He wanted more and more and more. More! It's always better with more. So make sure in everything you're like Jafar and get more.
Yes. And last but not least, we look at our dear friend Tamateo.
Oh, that ugly little crab.
From
I can't
Moana.
believe he started out that way.
He was so ugly. But his desire and his greed for more and more and more shiny led him to stealing all sorts of goods.
And he was so good at it. Oh, man.
Including Maui's hook.
That's the best when you render the good guy like helpless.
Totally helpless.
That's so good. So this week we hope that you take away that you want more, more, and more, because in life that is the goal. That's why we're here, to get more and more and more. No matter what the cost, no matter who you step on to get it, you must get more.
So this week, the minute you think you have enough, you need to strive for more.
Yes. Speaking of Cruella, let's go and get some more. I think you could use a new coat.
I need a new coat.
And I need a new crown. Wow, those villains are definitely hungry.
So villain school, I guess we're like sticking with that, huh?
We are, yeah, definitely.
New.
There's 6 points to get across this Lent.
Yeah.
And those villains
to be bad.
Those villains are definitely going to show us exactly what to do or how to be.
Yeah. The scary part is that, like, we laugh about it, you know, I mean, it's fun to, like, watch the videos and then kind of laugh, but it happens in our daily lives all the time. All of these different things that the villains are trying to, like, teach us to do.
Yeah.
We fight these things every day in our own lives. Like, their homework really isn't that hard.
No, because we just have to find the ways to recognize it in our life and make sure that we're praying that we don't fall into that. But anyways, we are comparing the villains that the evil queen and Cruella to the characters in the the people in the Bible, along with Pastor Stanton's midweek Lenten service. So last week we had the mob at Jerusalem that went along with peer pressure, and this week we have one of Jesus's followers, a close personal friend, could be considered a close personal friend. One of the original hung out with him, Judas. Judas let greed come over his life.
It tells us in Luke chapter 22, now the feast of unleavened bread, called the Passover, was approaching, and the chief priest and teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12, and Judas went to the chief priest and the officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present.
Okay, so I'd like to ask what was Judas thinking, but clearly he wasn't thinking.
No,
because
Satan entered him. It says right there, Satan
entered him. He gave Satan an inch, and Satan took a whole mile and just came over him completely. Because not only did Judas, who was one of the followers, close personal friend of Jesus. Now, whether he totally encompassed that Jesus was the Son of God, he was still his friend.
Right. I mean, at best he was learning from Jesus and he was following him and getting ready to help take over ministry.
But 30 pieces of silver? Like, you were willing to give up you were that desperate, that selfish, that greedy to give up your friend for 30 pieces of silver. And what did it gain?
What did it gain him? I mean, yeah.
Obviously that was the plan. It had to be carried out, but that's why we have the Bible to look back and learn from. But seriously, what? I mean,
it boils down to Judas was greedy for a lot of things. He was greedy for the money that he was going to receive. I think he was greedy for the popularity that he would get from the chief priest and the elders. I think he was greedy to become like the hero of the story.
The attention. I gave up Jesus. You're trying to find him. Guess what? I can give him to you.
Which we know in the end, all of this ended up not giving him anything that he wanted. I mean, Judas was just overcome with guilt and sorrow for what he had done. And so his greed ultimately became his demise.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, he definitely was not thinking. And in the end, it really was not worth it because we see how Judas's last moments played out. But
unfortunately,
not worth it.
We all fall into the sin of greed all too often. You know, we say we try to keep up with the Joneses, you know, we're greedy and we want the same things our neighbor has, but we want it just a little bit better. Or we're greedy and we want time, and so we suck up, time with something instead of giving it to others. Or we hoard things, I think.
Yeah, what's the point of collecting all that stuff when clearly people are doing it?
Yeah. I mean, so even Pastor Bob talked about it last week in his sermon about how our fridges are full. And very rarely do any of us go without food, but yet we continue to buy and buy and buy. And we show our greed in different ways than necessarily handing over Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, but we definitely let other things get in the way of our relationship with him.
Yeah, so we see that the villain's homework assignment to you this week was to get as much as you possibly can. However, our homework assignment for you is this week, instead of getting things, giving things. One, pray that God would guard you against the sin of greed and wanting more. But then also consider what you do have and ways that you can give back to others. Like Jaime said, in the Lord's Prayer, we ask for God to give us our daily bread, and he does more than abundantly supply us with more than our daily bread. So, like Pastor Bob said, you go in your fridge and you have a ton of food. How many clothes do you have in your closet? How many pairs of shoes do you have? How many cars does your family have?
Right.
All of those things that you can just literally make a list of, but give back.
Yeah.
Give ways. Now, I'm not saying go give a car or your whole wardrobe, but just be thankful for what you do have and find ways that you can help out those who don't have.
And it doesn't even have to just be in a monetary way. You can give of your time, you can give of your talents, and you can give of your treasures too, all those things that you love so much. Yeah. But this week, try not to get, try to give.
With that being said, blessings on your homework assignment of getting instead of getting, and we'll see you back here next week.